What's up, guys? I got back into the sales game yesterday, did an estimate, had to relay the results to you guys, kind of give you some pointers and tips of how I maneuvered throughout the home, got the sale, $13,000 job. I think you're going to get something out of this. And I wanted to jump on this immediately so I didn't forget some of the minor details. But anyway, awesome experience getting in the sales game again. Those of you who know, I am not fully in the sales role anymore. I am working mostly from home. So it's good to refine some of my skills. And yeah, it was a great day. And I wanted to share that sales experience with you. The big question you need to ask yourself every day is, do I own a job or do I own a business? And unfortunately, the majority of contractors out there own a job. That's right, they're a slave to their own business. But the other side of the fence is so much greener, it's so much better. And that's when you're finally fully in control of your destiny, your freedom, your time. And that's what Contractor Secrets is about. It's about taking back our time, building a business with systems, standards, values, procedures, putting yourself in the driver's seat. And that's what it's about. So I'm excited. I'm happy to have you here. Let's dive into the Contractor Secrets podcast. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today, I want to just briefly cover this sale I went on yesterday because it was a really good experience. And it was obviously, those of you who know, I'm not in the estimates anymore. But Chris called out, so I was like, let me go tackle this estimate instead of rescheduling because they just moved in and I know they wanted to get it done. So I went to the estimate and it was great because it allowed me to refine some of my skills and just kind of also, get a little refresher session in. It's been a while. So I go to the estimate and, first thing I could tell right off the bat was they were a little overwhelmed with all the work they felt needed to be done in the house. One thing that was important to me was over the course of my interaction with them is just emphasizing how quickly I can get in there. I tell you guys this all the time. There's this always going to be a why behind what they're doing. And what's cool is that there's only a certain amount of them in our industry, right? So people who are moving in, moving out, getting ready to sell their house, people that have an HOA that's getting on their nerves, or there's wear and tear that's starting to cause more problems. I mean, if you took the time to actually outline the reasons behind why your customers buy, then you can create solutions for those reasons. And when they come up, you can essentially seem like an expert simply by offering the solution that's most fitting for the why. So, for example, knowing that this person is going to be moving in or is moved in and wants to get settled in, I know that speed is of much importance to this specific customer. So, throughout the duration of the sale, I'm thinking any chance I have to emphasize how quickly we can start is going to put me ahead of the competition. Okay. Especially in this economy where almost everyone is busy, but we can be, that lighthouse to them that's like, oh, wait a minute, that company can get us in a lot faster. Okay. And that's my job as a, business owner and being really good at scheduling to make this happen to where it makes sense. We're booked out 6 to 8 weeks, but I'm going to make it happen to where I can get them done within 3 to 4 simply by just maneuvering my schedule around, knowing that this customer will pay more for convenience, efficiency. They want to get settled in. This is leverage. Okay. So when I go in there, one of the first things that they do, they have two dogs jumping at me. And it's loud, it's crazy. I'm not knocking from knocking on the door. And I'm like, all right, they got the dogs, they brought them into the bedroom. And I follow them in there, and immediately they're like, "All right, so we want to do this and want to do this," and then they're kind of just coming at me. I'm getting fire hosed here, so I have to neutralize the situation. I don't know if you guys have been through this, just where people are excited, and I want to make sure that I can clearly identify what they want and what I need to offer and upsell in those situations. That's just my nature. And what I do is I neutralize the situation. I kind of let them get out what they're telling me, and then I say, all right, well, let me just, if you don't mind, explain what my processes are and what we offer. Is that okay? And then you can see like the sigh of relief. And the reason why is because naturally people want to feel as though they are in charge of the situation in their home, not for any other reason other than it's their home. And they kind of feel it's, if you're not going to host them and take control of the situation, then they're going to host you. It's their home. But I have to make the transition from that moment and make that transition from their home to my job site. And if we make that transition, then I become in charge of the experience and I let them know what we do and how we do it. And I think that's a missing ingredient for a lot of you guys who are trying to learn sales in this industry, is because what you're doing is you're taking orders. Essentially, you're following the customer around and just taking a bunch of notes. And although that's okay, that's not what they really want, but they're doing it because they don't feel as though there's any other option. You're just following around going, "Yep, okay, yep, we could do that." And then they're asking all the questions, and I mean, that's not an experience. People do not pay more for that. Okay? They are doing all the work. Why would they pay more for that? You pretty much let them guide the whole ship. You might as well let them do the work. All right. So for me, it's like everything that I do in my business, I want to create an experience. Guys, I created Drip Jobs. Although, yes, it's great for the contractor, I created that because I wanted to give my customers the best possible experience. When they get a follow up message every single step of the way, it makes them feel as though they could trust us. They can, it makes us look better than anyone else that they're getting an estimate from in that area of the business of communication. So when it comes time for us to come and do the estimate, I want to look better than the competition by actually creating an experience. And how do I do that? I got to get the ball in my court. I have to neutralize a situation. I got to take over what's going on. So I will give you an example. I mean, some of you know this. Doing estimates, they come in and they say, "All right, well, we want this done, we want this done," and hey, and they're just all over the place. So again, hey, well, let's start here. Do you guys mind if I share with you what we do and how we do it? Yes, absolutely, Tanner. That sounds great. And I could see like a sigh of relief. It happens every time. And I say, all right, just so you know, we do ceilings, walls, trim, and doors. Have you thought about which of those that you were wanting done? I let them tell me, even though I knew the whole house needed to be done, top to bottom. Everything in that house needs to be painted. But I wanted to hear what they thought about it because they're the ones buying it. So that they started off by telling me they just wanted the ceiling and the walls done. The ceiling was like yellow, so it definitely needed to be done. And the walls needed to be done. Okay. And I'm thinking, well, what about all this trim? The whole house had crown molding. It had molding around the windows. It had obviously baseboards and door frames. In my head, I'm thinking, I mean, I got to sell them the trim. This house is not going to look good without it. So right then and there, instead of advocating and focusing on that we can do the ceiling and the walls, because I asked them, now I could just focus on talking about the trim. So I said, well, have you thought about painting the trim? And they said, well, not really. I mean, it's white. I said, hey, come here, look at this. And I pull him over to an area of the trim where you could just see the caulking is just split. It doesn't look good. And I told him to put his hand on the door frame. And I said, do you feel how it's kind of gritty there? He said, yeah. I said, that's because it's never been really painted. It's actually just primed. It doesn't have a finish coat of really nice paint on there. And he's like, "Oh, really?" I said, "Yeah." I said, you want to put a nice semi-gloss on there. It's durable, it looks great. And one cool thing about us is that we can pretty much bubble any room, put down flooring paper and plastic, and we can spray it, and it's going to look amazing. And I could tell he was excited about it. I said, "Would you like me to add that as a line item?" And they said, "Yes." And I said, "All right, well, that's also going to be advisable in my eyes to do the doors too, which is a separate process." They said, "Really?" I said, "Yes." So how we do the doors is we take all the hinges off, we take the handles off, we bring them into your garage, we sand them down, and then we spray them. And when I said that, they looked at each other like, wow, like that sounds good, And I said, yeah. So I don't assume people know how we paint doors. So again, the more that I can describe to them what they're going to experience, the more comfortable they are with purchasing that service because they know exactly what they're getting. And my goal is to always exceed that of which they believe that they're getting. And it's going to look amazing. And by default, we do that because they can look at it and feel it when it's done. So from there, it was great because I now have aligned them to ceilings, walls, trim, doors. Okay. Now I'm paying attention to what's most important to them. So I always say, well, is there anything that you want to point out to me that's been bothering you? And, that maybe like a default or excuse me, a defect in the walls or the ceiling that needs to be repaired or replaced. And he brought me over to this area in the master bedroom, literally like 4 cracks on the ceiling. And he's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know how we're going to get this fixed and so on and so forth. And he's like, I was like, well, don't worry. We can actually take care of that for you. And what we're going to do is, and I explained the process of how we're going to repair the cracks and make it look good. And, just again, even though that would have been something that we would have just taken care of, I allowed him to tell me what was bothering him the most. So now I can emphasize how we're going to take care of that for him. Another check mark on his trust meter of, oh, nice. My thing that I look at every night when I go to sleep is going to be taken care of, and I could tell it was really bothering him. So he started walking around the house with me at that point in time as we kind of combed through some of the areas of the house. And I could just start seeing him really now focusing on the details of how, the walls have, little knots in them, and different things that need to be repaired. This house was in pretty rough shape. It's a nice house, almost 2,800 square feet. In a nice neighborhood. It just had wear and tear, and the homeowner was a DIYer. So I mean, let's not get started there. Anyway, so I could tell he was just now starting, now that he knew, like, hey, these guys are for real. Now he's like looking at the trim. He's like, hey, are you guys gonna like do something with that baseboard? And I said, well, I mean, the thing about it is that you got 3-inch, pretty much builder grade baseboard here. The drips that you're seeing there are behind 2 or 3 layers of paint. For you to have me and my team restore this is, in my opinion, it's not worth it. I think it's better for you to just get brand new baseboards. And what they told me was, initially they were like, "Well, no, no. I mean, the budget's probably not going to fit." And I'm like, "Well, listen, I can tell already that this is going to be important to you. I mean, most of this baseboard has little drips of paint on there. You're planning on living here for a while, yes?" They said, "Yeah." I said, again, having us to pay us to restore this by really stripping down this baseboard and repainting it for you, it's just, again, I don't believe it's the most efficient use of your dollar. It would be wise to get new baseboards. Listen, before you answer, how about this? Let me run to the car real quick and let me grab you a sample. And from there, I already knew it was going to be a sale because, again, just seeing what's important to this guy and what he wants, having the sample in my car ready to rock, I knew that it was going to be a lock. So I brought it out to him. I said, "Hey, listen, take a look at this. Take a look at this." And I put it down on the floor and I said, "Check out this. First of all, this is a 5 1/4 baseboard. It's going to look great off the bat, but first of all, this is a brand new piece of wood. There's no drips, there's no deviations, and it's going to elevate the look and feel of your house. After this job, if you put baseboards down, this is going to be what you are most satisfied with, is how great these baseboards look. Would you like me to give you a quote for it?" And he looked at his wife, they looked at each other, and they said, "You know what? Yeah, throw it in." So what I'm doing at that point is I'm suggestive upselling. Okay. Essentially, I'm painting a picture of an emotion. Guys, remember, in sales, people are buying a product, but they're really motivated toward the emotion behind the product, how they're going to feel. And this is how we buy things. Anything that you've bought has an emotion tied to it. If you go out to eat today, you're not really, I mean, although yes, it's exciting to you to consume food, but you're really after the feeling that it's going to give you, whether that's satisfaction of not being hungry or just the taste that you remember of something that you're going to be, going after, that you've had before, that you remember and you want to experience that taste again. Again, it's about the emotions behind what we're buying. And when you understand that concept, selling really becomes easy because you have to understand that in our industry, emotions are really high, right? It's about where they live. It's about the feeling that they get once they're done the projects, and feeling settled and feeling accomplished and feeling, clean and feeling new and fresh. And like, we have that ability in our industry in any capacity, whether you're a fence installer or a painting contractor, or a flooring contractor. I mean, creating newness in someone's fixed environment is first of all, it's a supreme blessing to be able to do that, but it's just really cool. It's like an intimate thing. You're in their home doing something for them. So knowing that ahead of time, when I sell, I'm really trying to pitch the emotion that they're going to get. And I tell people this a lot too. When you sell cars, you can throw someone in the car and do a test drive and have them feel the emotion, turn their music up, plug their phone in or connect it to the Bluetooth. And, you have that leverage in a business where you're selling that tangible product. In a service-based environment, you've got to be a great storyteller. You've got to be a great advocator for what the experience is going to look like. And you might say, "Well, I'm not a good storyteller." Well, that's okay. Just reference the emotions and the feelings that you get from other customers. You could say, "Oh, I had a customer that uh, got brand new baseboards and they told me that it was their favorite part of the job." So even though you might not be able to do a great job of displaying a story in the sense of like, hey, I know for a fact that you're going to feel that this is the best part of the job. Reference another customer's experience, and it does the same trick. So, for me, it's like I understand this concept. People are just moving in. They want the job done fast. So I'm emphasizing how quickly we can get in. I know that's important to them. And if you take the time to identify the different things that are important to your customers, and then you take time to also identify the solutions that you as a business owner can offer in those specific cases, you're going to come across as an expert every single time. And what's great is that there's only a few different reasons why people get their houses painted, why people get flooring done, why people get granite done, why people get roofing done. And if you're a great salesperson, you should be aligning solutions to those things. Again, so when they come up, you're ready to rock. And I know the solutions ahead of time. So at this point, sometimes I don't even have to ask. They tell me, and I know that, hey, you're moving in. Cool. I know what's most important to you. You want to get settled in. You want to feel at home. Okay, great. I know that there's a time frame involved here. If I tell you I'm 6 months out, I have a 0% chance of getting the job. I know that for a fact. So I also know that if I tell you that I'm 3 weeks out, you're going to be very excited because in this market, many companies are a lot further out as we are. But I also understand this customer is going to pay more, margins are going to be higher. I'm going to manipulate my schedule to maximize my weeks. And I'm going to look at my schedule and I will find a slot to put this person in. I will do it because I understand the customers that I serve. I know people are a little more lenient and I can get this job in for sure. So I come across with that confidence of, hey, we're going to be in here and I know for a fact we can get here within 3 to 4 weeks off the bat. So they're already writing off the idea that I can't get there and they're going to have to wait. It excites them. So then it becomes time to identify what they're going to feel once we're done. So first of all, let me explain to you, now that I've explained to you what we do, let me explain to you how I do it. And first of all, I want you to know that there's something about us that's a little bit different than some of the other companies that you might come across. We always work in teams of 4 and 5. It's our company standard. We don't deviate from that. And why is that important to you? Because you just pointed out to me that there's a bunch of cracks around the house. And I know for a fact that that's important to you. I can tell. And one cool thing about having so many people on the job is that I can just have one person throughout almost the whole day, just going around and filling all your cracks. And the team doesn't feel compromised in terms of our timeline. In other words, we will not cut corners just to finish the job in an appropriate time frame, but also because we have so many people working together, we can still meet the deadline of what I believe to be 5 working days in your home. Okay. And however you word it or however you do it, I'm identifying again what's most important to the person I'm speaking to. What is their motivation? Then I focus my entire sales process around those two things. Then I look at what I can add on to create a better experience and to improve our bottom line. He was concerned about drips on the baseboard. Does it make sense for him to have us restore builder grade 3-inch colonial baseboard? No, it doesn't. It's a waste of money. I know that for a fact. So I can come across to this customer with truth and certainty. And that's a huge selling tool is truth and certainty. You can't waver from it. You look at someone who's coming to you with truth and certainty and integrity, you're by default going to want to adapt that way of thinking, knowing that they're genuine. And in any case, whenever I'm upselling things, I'm really doing it from my heart. I'm like, listen, this is not a good idea. Whatever you're thinking that we can do and where your money is going to go in this specific case, not a good move. Okay. Although, yes, you can pay me to come here and sand down these baseboards, or I can give you a better experience with a better product and ultimately have you feeling at the end of the job that this is your favorite part of what you invested in is these brand new baseboards. Let me show you. So having that tangible baseboard in hand gave me some leverage there. How much different would it have been if I said, 5 and a quarter baseboards might look really good here? Yeah, they might. Okay, well, would you like me to throw in a quote for that? No, having the baseboard in my hand and putting it on the floor so they can look at it and say, you know what, that would look good. Okay, so in some cases, when we sell certain things, and I tell my flooring contractors this, you should always have full length flooring samples in your car. Now, house painting is a little bit different. You can get creative with that, in terms of what you bring. And of course, with my baseboard, I have Pro Classic semi-gloss trim on it, paint on it. So I'll say, by the way, this is what your trim's going to feel like. And I have them scratch it. You can see how thick and nice it looks. So again, there's some tangibility there. And I always try to upsell baseboards. I love that. It's just one of the best upsells. So if you have a carpenter that can do it and you're in the painting business, really look into that. It's a great upsell. Always looks great. Margins are great on it. And people seem to be really happy. I would, and a lot of houses don't have 5-inch baseboards. It's a newer thing. So, but yeah, so, it was just really exciting to be in there. So anyway, I gave him the quote, a couple hours later, I sent it and, I really wanted the job. It was like one of our ideal jobs. So I said, you know what? I know that he wanted to get a couple more estimates, so I called him right before I sent it. And I only do this for jobs that I really, really want. I know I had a margin on it. I think I was at like 58%. And I was like, you know what? Hey man, send over your quote. Just wanted to let you know if you pull the trigger today, I'll take 5% off, just as a thank you for moving forward with us. And he was like, really? I said, yeah. I said, so just let me know. You can, obviously click the button inside the email, sign and accept, put down a deposit. And within 10 minutes he called me back and said, all right, let's do it. And that 5% is good today, right? So he was really excited about that 5%. And whatever, it's 5%. So what does that, what does that mean in the grand scheme of things? I locked in a great job. It's a 5-day job. I can keep my trim team busy, keep the painting team busy, and looking at the margins, we're still at a healthy margin. And that 5%, stop me from having to follow up or have him get more opinions and maybe second guess me. And remember, the emotions are the highest on the day of the estimate. That's why, with jobs that you really want, highly recommend you get that estimate out ASAP, follow up immediately or before with a phone call. I love calling before I send the quote, to prepare them, right? So if you're doing quotes from home like I am, I always call beforehand. And I always say, hey, just letting you know, even if I have all the information, I know what they want. I'll say, hey, because a lot you guys remember, like Chris goes out and does these estimates, he takes pictures, sends them to me, and I do price them from the office using Dripjobs, so I do like to call before I send it, and I'll say, hey, just introduce myself. My name's Tanner. How did Chris do? Okay, great. I'm looking at the photos here. Hey, is this your scope? Yes. So I've created my own way to build value just from a distance. And doing that in person is even better because you are the person they're meeting. Obviously, someone, when I used to, it would be me in person, and then I'd love pricing it right there. So if you can do that, you're gonna have even greater chance of selling the jobs. So anyway, just wanted to share with you guys my experience on that. Some of the things that I did. If I could wrap this episode up in a quick summary, it would be number one: create a menu of what you do and neutralize the conversation in the beginning. Take control of the experience. You shouldn't be following around a homeowner with notes in your hand. Okay. You should be the one the homeowner is gloating as you're explaining what your process is as you walk around their house. Um, that's number one. Number two, everyone has a why behind what they do. Okay. You got to understand the why is the emotion of what it is, not the product. The people aren't excited about the fact that I'm painting their trim. They're excited about what it's going to look like and how it's going to make them feel when they walk by it. Okay. So we have to understand that this is an emotional game we're in. Okay. How do you sell an emotional product? Well, you do it with portraying and helping them almost feel what that emotional feel like. So for example, when you run your hand on this, it's going to feel slippery and you're going to be able to scratch it with your finger. Here, check it out. Right? That is the emotion behind it. And it's going to be shiny. It's going to glow, especially the way the light hits this trim in this room. It's going to look amazing. Okay. And then the third thing is everyone has that little thing that's important to them. Find out what that is and then spend some time focusing on it. For this experience, this guy right here was the cracks. He had cracks in his ceiling. So I just spent some time talking to him about it and focusing on it. Okay. Now, maybe you're doing some of this stuff. Maybe you're doing it by default, but that means that you could just refine what you do. Ask more deliberate questions, provide deliberate solutions. If you're offering a tangible product, bring a sample. Have nice samples ready to rock. You cabinet refinishers out there. If you're in the cabinet refinishing game and you do not have samples, you are underselling your services. if you are not bringing a door to every estimate for people to feel and see, you are missing out. So please, if you do cabinets, that should be your next move today, is getting some samples together and bringing them into the house. Don't bring them right away. Bring them in after you do your initial spiel. You don't want people looking at the door the whole time you're talking. So find out what they want, get a feel for it, talk to them, build your value, and then say, hey, would you like to feel and see a door? Duh. And then go out and be right back. Let me go get one for you. Right. So that's how you do that. So anyway, it was a great time yesterday. And just want to thank you guys for listening to this. I hope it was of value. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, I'd love to hear from you. So please reach out to me on Instagram. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me, at Contractor Coach. Also want to thank all of you who have signed up for Drip Jobs. We just crossed over 150 companies. I don't even know how that even happened. I think it's awesome. I'm super grateful. And it's humbling because, this was just once an idea that turned into a real thing that people use every single day to communicate with their customers and to run their business. There's a lot of pressure surrounding it, knowing how serious that is, and I take it so serious. But I just want to say thank you. I know there's a lot of you who listen to this that use it. Our goal this year, just for some accountability, is 450. So maybe at the end of this year, I will be able to relay that we achieved, and if not exceeded, our goal. So super cool of you guys. And I also love the feedback. You guys are really good about giving me feedback, constructive criticism about how to make it better. And that's super well received because, if you're going to do something, I want it to be the best. So thanks again, guys. Have a great day. Keep crushing it. And one more thing, if you want to join me on a business breakthrough, would love to have you. I think there's a link in the bio here in the description. So, and if you don't know, it's a free session. You hear them all the time on this podcast. It's free. I don't ask for anything up front. I don't take anything afterwards. I don't do a sales pitch afterwards. There's none of that crap. It's just straight up, let me help you in a way or give you perspective about your business. So if you feel as though that would be of any value to you, that's absolutely my favorite thing to do. Or those sessions, my way of giving back to the industry I love. So please reach out. You can just book a time using one of the links in the description below. Thanks again, guys. Take care. Dripjobs CRM is finally here. That's right. So Dripjobs is an automation platform for contractors, home service professionals that's going to automatically follow up with your customers. It's going to allow you to send invoices, estimates. It's going to allow you to send out blast marketing emails to individuals based on where they are in the buying process. This software is next level. And I'm reaching out to you. You're a listener of this podcast, and I want you to be one of the first ones to give it a shot. So if you want to see what Dripjobs can do for your business, I'd love for you to head over to dripjobs.com, sign up for a free demo, and get your team involved, and let us sit with you and show you how powerful this software is. It's going to save you time, it's going to make you money, and you're going to love the features that are built into Dripjobs. So if you want to check it out, head over to dripjobs.com, and we will give you first priority being a podcast listener to be one of the very first to try out Dripjobs in your home service business. I'm super excited to share that with you, and I'll catch you on the next episode.